All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Blake here. Blake, thank you for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So how did you ultimately get into roofing?
Well, I had the opportunity to have a very strong mentor, and not just a roofing mentor, just a mentor who happened to have a roofing company. And so I had relied upon him throughout my kind of later life, I guess I would say, and just bringing things to him and asking him more philosophical questions probably than anything else. And we built that relationship, and he said, "Hey, we're implementing this project, we're implementing this program at the company, and I'm wondering if you could do a little consulting." So took the opportunity to spend some time here, get to know our operating unit president, and some of the other people that were involved here at Pioneer, and did that consulting bit, and then said, boy, it sure would be nice to implement this, and would I be able to implement it as a part of the team? And that's where it really took off. It was more of a natural fit, and as we know, your fit in a position is not always about whether you're the expert in something. It's really how do you feel about the people around you? How do you mesh with them? How do you accent their strengths? How do they accent your weaknesses? It's just really good to see, and having a little smaller office, seeing the people that work here and really understanding how top-notch they are. It just made it simple for me. That's the place I'd love to be.
What are your strengths and what are the type of people that complement you?
I would say that my strengths are really thinking through issues that are a little bit more intricate, and spending the time to not only think about what all the good things are about doing that, but then what are the potential downfalls of doing that? And it can be something very simple. Should we bid on this roof project? Well, maybe, but let's dig in a little bit more. Let's find out the specific details of it. Or it could be, more along the lines of an organizational change. I've always been a believer in possibilities thinking, and really what possibilities thinking comes down to is that you think of what you could have in front of you, and then you put the question, what would be the worst outcome of us not doing this? If there's nothing there, if there are no, worst possible outcomes of not doing something, then it may not be the right thing for you. But if there are outcomes that could come up from that could be very positive, that you can work through, maybe that's the way you should go. So it's kind of rethinking how you're actually making decisions. And it's not always just about doing flow charts and what's my best case scenario and all of the things that you can do. If we don't do this, what's the worst that could happen? So yeah. just really thinking about those decisions in a way that makes the most sense, yet is most advantageous in that. I'm a team player, so I like to, again, really collaborate with people and think through some of those tough things. So and the people that really, I think, accentuate my strengths are maybe those more detail oriented people. I tend to be a little bit bigger picture kind of a guy. I'm thinking about what the possibilities are, and sometimes you just need people to say, this is where we're at, this is where we need to be at this spot. And that helps to reframe and refocus me. So people that really kind of push me, they challenge me, they get more detailed, more minute. Those are the ones that really bring my game up, and then we can come up together. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that if somebody is going to be kind of pushing me, then we're rising together. That boat rises together.
What's something you've learned or changed your mind or learned further by being more involved in the roofing industry?
There are kind of two things I would say. The first is that I just thought there was rubber roofing, but there's not. There's so many options. There's so many ways that you can actually create a good solution for whoever you're working with. So that was kind of one of those where it's like, wow, we could do this, or we could do this, we could implement this. That was mind blowing to me. So learning those things and really learning what some of the opportunities are out there has been very valuable. And even though I have only been in it for a couple of years, I know way more than I probably would ever have known about different types of roofing. And then I guess I would say a second portion of that is that you really don't understand what goes on a roof until you've been on a roof. And you see the crews that are working on the roof, and you think, you want to talk about problem solvers. You want to talk about people with a just take charge attitude, and they go at it. Go watch a roof crew. Go see what they're doing. It's easy enough for us to tell them that they're going to install this roof with this insulation, this detail, but they have to be the ones that are going out there and doing that work. And the hard work that they put in really just was solidified in my mind that they're so integral to having a really strong company. So anytime I can get out and see a crew at work, it just makes me know that we're doing the right work and we got the right people doing that work. They're really the backbone of pretty much any company. And I think that can be said for a lot of different types of companies. If you don't have a solid crew, you don't have solid workforce, you don't have solid people that are really doing your core mission, then it's tough. But when you have that, boy, you've got what you need to be super successful. And we have that.
What advice or insights do you have for people that, may consider roofing later in their career?
Well, I think anytime you look at going into a career, whether it's early on or it's a little later in life, it comes down to what fits my value system. What are some things that I would want to be challenged by? What are some things that would make me feel like I'm doing something that I really want to do? So it comes down to not just what jobs are open. It comes down to doing some reflection. What is it that about this opportunity that makes me interested in it? And then once you have the interest, what is it about that interest that tells me that this is something that I might want to consider? And then once I have the consideration, what is it that I'm going to do to move forward with that consideration, and really thinking it through, not just I need a job or anything like that. I always tell people, look at what you're doing as the potential for a career, not just a job here or a job there. Look at it as a career. And the nice part about a place like Pioneer, or really any of our tech companies, is that there's a value at taking people maybe from a crew to, they can be a foreman. They have some leadership. They could be a foreman, or they could be a superintendent. Promoting within happens so much in the trades in particular, that even if you are a little later in your career and you say, boy, I might want to take that, maybe it's a mid-level kind of a job, there's an opportunity for me to progress into something that may be a little bit more in a couple of years, or however long it takes. But if you take a look at it from, is this a career I want to be engaged in? You're not going to steer yourself wrong most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't fit, but rather than it being a job, think about it as a career. That's my advice to anybody that's entering the job market.